Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio, where artisanal Bible study is always on tap. So we're looking today and all this week at Psalm 92. Yesterday we studied verses 1, 2, and 3. Also looked at the overall structure of the psalm. This is a very beautifully created psalm. 15 lines of verse leads to verse 8 at the top, and then 15 lines of verse leads away from verse 8. And there's some interesting contrasts between the two sides of this little pyramid of linguistic creation here. Verses 4, 5, and 6. For thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the work of thy hands. O Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth a fool understand this. Yesterday we began the psalm with the idea or the thought that this is a psalm. Superscript tells us this is a psalm for the Sabbath day. So we're beginning with the idea that they're entering into the synagogue. Music is playing, the instruments of 10 strings, the psaltery, the harp, solemn sound, because it's good to give thanks to the Lord, to show forth His loving kindness and His faithfulness. That's verses 1 and 2. To sing praises to His name. All of that is very beautiful, this idea that, this praise is happening. But now we come to verses 4, 5, and 6, and we're going to answer the why question here. Why is that? Why is it good to give thanks? Why is it good to praise His name? Why play on the instruments a solemn sound? Verse 4, for thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy work. And you'll notice the word work repeats here. Thy work, the works of thy hands, how great are thy works, there in verse 5. So he's saying it's good to give thanks. Here's why. Because the works of God call on us to give thanks. And what are those works? Well, His works in creation and in the governing of the world. His works in all that we see that's beautiful. His works in all the gifts that He gives to us. Not only those, but His thoughts, which are revealed in His Word. Those too are His works. And so even that, His Word, His created order, the governance by which He keeps all things in check, the beauty and the goodness and the giftedness of all of that He's made, ladies and gentlemen, leads us to say, it is a good thing to give thanks. He's the one, or we're the beneficiaries. He's the one that is giving to us all this wonderful goodness. How great are thy works? Well, really, can we even begin to say how great are the works of God? No, we can't. Because God is so large. He is so wonderful. He is so magnificent. There is no way that our words could ever describe His greatness. Verse 6, though, takes a little turn here. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth a fool understand this. So you mean to tell me that there's somebody in the world who cannot look at all the wonderful creation and governance that God provides, all the gifts that He gives, all the wonderful things that He says and thinks that's revealed to us through the Word of God? Somebody in the world could ignore all that and not understand? Absolutely. You know why? Go back to Psalm 14. Psalm 14 tells us, the fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. The very first verse in Psalm 14. So the fool doesn't understand it because the fool doesn't believe there is a God. And if you can't believe there's a God, then you don't see that there's a created order, that God is governing all things by the word of His power. So all of this leads us to come into the sanctuary and to lift up our praise for the goodness of God revealed to us in all these things. Okay, so tomorrow I want you to join me because tomorrow will be very important. We're going to look at 7, the last step in the first side of our pyramid, 8, which is the platform, the top of our structure here, and then 9 as we start back down the other side. So join me tomorrow for verses 7 through 9 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.